Mangifera Indica, the biology, cultivation requirements, and the special case of Harumanis.
Azlan Adnan, M.A. Wednesday the 15th of July 2026. Introduction. Understanding the mango species. Mangifera indica is one of the most economically important tropical fruit species in the world. Native to the Indian subcontinent, it is spread throughout tropical and subtropical regions, producing thousands of cultivars with different characteristics in flavor, aroma, size, color, texture, and climate adaptation. Although commonly regarded as a tropical fruit tree, Mangifera indica is not simply a plant that thrives wherever temperatures are warm. Premium fruit production depends on a complex interaction between genetics, climate, flowering biology, pollination, soil conditions, nutrition, water management, orchard design, and disease control. The success of any Mangifera indica cultivar depends on matching the biological requirements of the tree with the environmental conditions of the growing region. Climate, the importance of seasonal signals. One of the most important factors influencing Mangifera indica production is the relationship between vegetative growth and flowering. In subtropical regions, a cool and relatively dry winter period acts as a natural flowering trigger. The lower temperatures reduce vegetative activity and encourage dormant buds to transition into reproductive growth. When this cool period is followed by a warm, sunny growing season, flowers develop, fruit sets, and the developing fruit has a long period to accumulate sugars. This explains why many famous mango-growing regions have a distinct seasonal pattern, a relatively dry, cooler period followed by a hot, sunny season. However, in humid tropical regions where temperatures remain high throughout the year, flowering is often not triggered by cold conditions. Instead, growers frequently rely on controlled water stress. By temporarily reducing water availability, farmers simulate a dry season, encouraging the tree to shift from leaf production into reproductive activity. Once flowering begins, the tree requires sufficient water and nutrients to support fruit development. Flower biology and pollination in Mangifera indica. A common misunderstanding is that a mango tree contains separate male and female branches. This is not the case. A single Mangifera indica tree produces large flowering structures called panicles. Each panicle is a branching cluster containing hundreds or thousands of individual flowers. The flowers themselves occur mainly in two forms. 1. Male flowers. These contain functional stamens that produce pollen but do not develop into fruit. 2. Hermaphroditic flowers. These contain both male and female reproductive structures, including functional ovaries capable of developing into fruit. The majority of mango flowers are male, while only a smaller proportion are hermaphroditic and capable of producing fruit. Even though these hermaphroditic flowers allow the tree to be functionally self-fertile, successful fruit production is usually improved by cross-pollination. Pollination is mainly carried out by insects, including flies, bees, and other small flower visitors. Therefore, a healthy orchard ecosystem with active pollinators contributes significantly to good fruit set. A tree may flower heavily yet produce a disappointing harvest if pollination conditions are poor. Rain during flowering, excessive humidity, lack of insect activity, or disease affecting flowers can greatly reduce the number of fruits that develop. Sunlight and fruit quality. Mangifera indica is a high-energy plant that requires abundant sunlight. The sugars, flavor compounds, and aromatic molecules that define premium mango varieties are ultimately produced through photosynthesis. A long sunny season after flowering allows the fruit to develop. Higher sugar concentration, stronger aroma, better color development, improved texture and eating quality. This is why mango-growing regions with clear skies and extended dry periods often produce fruit with superior flavor. Excessive cloud cover or heavy rainfall during fruit development can dilute flavor and reduce sweetness. Soil and water management. Although Mangifera indica is adaptable and can survive in many soil types, commercial production requires careful soil management. The ideal soil conditions include good drainage, sufficient depth for root development, adequate organic matter, balanced mineral availability. Waterlogging is particularly harmful because mango roots require oxygen. Poor drainage weakens the tree and increases vulnerability to root diseases. Water management is also a delicate balance. Water stress before flowering can encourage flowering, but water shortage during fruit development can reduce fruit size and quality. Nutrition and orchard management. A productive mango tree requires balanced nutrition. Nitrogen promotes leaf and shoot growth, but excessive nitrogen can encourage vegetative growth at the expense of flowering and fruit production. Potassium is particularly important during fruit development because it supports sugar accumulation, fruit firmness, color development, overall fruit quality. Micronutrients such as boron and zinc are also important because they influence flowering, pollen function, and fruit development. Canopy management is equally critical. Mango trees naturally develop large spreading crowns. Without pruning, excessive shade develops within the canopy, reducing photosynthesis and increasing humidity. Proper pruning improves sunlight penetration, airflow, disease resistance, harvesting efficiency. Disease challenges in tropical production. Humidity is one of the greatest challenges for mango cultivation. Warm, wet conditions encourage fungal diseases, especially during flowering and early fruit development. Diseases such as anthracnose and powdery mildew can reduce fruit set and damage fruit quality. Successful commercial production therefore depends on integrated management. Maintaining good airflow, controlling excessive canopy density, removing infected plant material, selecting suitable cultivars, monitoring disease conditions. Harumanis, a special cultivar of Mangifera Indica. Among the many Mangifera Indica cultivars, Harumanis occupies a unique position. The name itself reflects its defining qualities, harum meaning fragrant and manis meaning sweet. It is recognized for its intense aroma, rich sweetness, and smooth texture. Harumanis is closely associated with Perlis, Malaysia, where the cultivar has become a premium agricultural product. It is related to the Indonesian Harumanis mango lineage, particularly the Harumanis 143 cultivar, which has long been valued in Indonesia. However, the reputation of Harumanis is not based only on genetics. It is the result of a special relationship between cultivar and environment. Why Perlis is ideal for Harumanis. Perlis provides several conditions that favor high-quality Harumanis production. A pronounced dry period, abundant sunlight, relatively lower rainfall during critical stages, suitable temperature variation between day and night. The cooler nights are particularly valuable. During the day, the leaves produce carbohydrates through photosynthesis. At night, plants use some of these carbohydrates for respiration. Cooler nights reduce respiration losses, allowing more sugars to remain available for fruit development. The result is fruit with exceptional sweetness and aroma. Why Harumanis is difficult to replicate elsewhere. A Harumanis tree can survive outside Perlis, but producing the same premium quality is much more difficult. Different climates alter the flowering cycle, pollination success, and fruit development. In wetter tropical regions, rain during flowering can reduce pollination, high humidity increases fungal pressure, excessive cloud cover reduces sugar accumulation, irregular dry periods affect flowering consistency. Therefore, the challenge is not merely growing the tree. The challenge is recreating the environmental conditions that allow the cultivar's genetic potential to be fully expressed. Conclusion: the interaction between genetics and environment. The story of Mangifera Indica demonstrates a fundamental principle of agriculture. Superior fruit quality comes from the interaction between genetics and environment. A remarkable cultivar planted in unsuitable conditions may produce ordinary results. Conversely, when the right cultivar is matched with the right climate and careful management, exceptional quality can emerge. Harumanis represents this relationship perfectly. It is not simply a sweet mango cultivar, it is the result of millions of years of plant evolution, centuries of selection by farmers, a specific Malaysian environment, and detailed orchard management. Understanding the biology of Mangifera Indica, from flowering and pollination to climate requirements and fruit development, is the key to preserving and improving one of the world's most treasured fruit species.
The author has placed this work in the public domain. It may be freely imported, exported, shared, distributed, edited, modified, or reformatted without explicit consent from the author. As a visually impaired person, the author asserts his rights under the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled. 2013, wipo.int.
Early bird registration for my September 5th event is valid until July 31st for a minimum donation of 150 ringgit. Made before July 31st, you can attend my September 5th event. All proceeds for all your donations will be used not just for your meal for the day, but also for my various eye treatments and sponsoring some persons with disability to attend the event. From July onwards, it will be 150 ringgit until the end of July. Then in August, it will go up to 200 ringgit. Thank you.
How to attend Azlan Adnan's Meet the Author Luncheon at the Hungry Tapir, 135 Petaling Street, Kuala Lumpur, short walking distance from the Pasar Seni MRT LRT station, from 12:30 hours, Saturday, 5th September 2026.
Step 1. Download all my 30+ books on nutrition for free from Z Library using this URL. However, there is a limit of 10 downloads a day from Z Library. The workaround is to download them, and 2,250 plus others, from my Optimal Health Community Telegram broadcast channel at EPUB Electronic Publishing. All my free ebooks are published in .epub electronic publishing format. If you are still living in the dark ages and only know .pdf, portable document format, and never heard of .epub, don't worry. You are about to have a mind-blowing experiential learning journey. If you use an Apple device, .epub files open in the Books app. If you are an Android user, use Universal Book Reader or a similar app. If you need further instructions on how to read .epub documents, just ask your favorite AI app to teach you. If you have never used an AI app before, start with Grok, Gemini, or ChatGPT. Then move on to DeepSeek, Claude, or Kling later.
Step 2. I have put all my books in the public domain, and you may share them freely. In fact, I strongly implore you to do so. Viralize them, make sure they reach every person who needs the knowledge contained in them. In Malaysia, the most recent data from the National Health and Morbidity Survey 2023 shows that 21.8% of adults are obese and 32.6% are overweight. This means the total combined rate is 54.4% of adults. Scary huge percentages of Malaysians are diabetic or suffer from other non-communicable diseases, NCDs. To be specific, in Malaysia, about 15.5% of adults have chronic kidney disease, CKD, up from 9.1% in 2011. Around 21.4% of adults aged 30 and above are at high risk of cardiovascular disease, CVD. Among older adults, about 8.5% have dementia, equating to roughly 260,000 people as of 2022. A nation is only as strong as its human capital. How strong can a nation be if more than half its population is fat, sick, and nearly dead? Of what good can you be to your family if you are fat, sick, and nearly dead? You owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be.
Step 3. Read the books, follow whatever advice that makes sense to you. If something doesn't make sense to you, or causes cognitive dissonance, you can ask me clarifying questions on the 5th of September. Also, be prepared to report on the 5th of September what improvements in your health you have noticed. So far, one person has seen her total cholesterol level drop from always above 5 to 4.6. Another has resolved a chronic constipation issue. I have written 2 books on human stool classification and stool analysis. Another person who wakes up every morning with a white layer of mucus on her tongue for more than half her life now wakes up with a clear tongue. Step 4. Make the minimum donation by the required dates. The longer you prevaricate, the higher the minimum donation gets. Minimum donation per pax. 100 ringgit for donations received by June 30th, 150 ringgit for donations received by July 31st, 200 ringgit for donations received by August 31st, 500 ringgit for donations received by the 5th of September and for walk-ins. Places are limited. However, I do not wish to deprive anyone. If enough people register, we can take over the whole restaurant, so make your donations early to reserve your place. Purpose: your donations will go towards sponsoring persons with disability, PWD, to attend the event and also towards my various ongoing eye treatments. Sponsorship: if you run a business and wish to promote your business, you can sponsor door gifts, gift vouchers, or even cash.
A writer and researcher in nutrition science, Azlan has authored dozens of books on plant-based bioactives, antioxidants, and the chemistry of whole foods. In this session, he will lead a dynamic Ask Me Anything on nutrition session. All 30 of his nutrition books are in the public domain and are downloadable at the link below. Attendees must read these books in advance and come prepared with their questions. This is a singular chance to engage with one of today's leading independent nutrition thinkers. Don't miss it. A healthy, whole food, plant-based lunch with the menu curated by Azlan Adnan will be served. No need to write your name in the reference of the bank transfer, as it will automatically be displayed, but include your phone number in case we need to contact you for any last-minute changes.
We will also celebrate Azlan's 68th birthday.
Some of you have been wondering why a YouTube channel devoted to green political philosophy and ideology would address health issues. The stark facts are these. Data from the National Health and Morbidity Survey in Malaysia 2023 shows that 54.4% of adults are either overweight or obese, with 32.6% classified as overweight and 21.8% as obese. Abdominal obesity, per Roy, was also reported at 54.5%. Compared to 2011, the combined prevalence of overweight and obesity has increased from 44.5% to 54.4%. According to the same survey, 15.6% of adults in Malaysia have been diagnosed with diabetes, kencing manis. Additionally, about 21.4% of Malaysian adults aged 30 and above have a high 10-year calculated risk of developing cardiovascular disease, CVD, sakit jantung. In Malaysia, precise prevalence data for diagnosed CVD is somewhat limited. Data from 2010 to 2021 indicated that 16.6% of all registered deaths were due to CVD. A 2015 survey found that 14.1% of working-age adults had diabetes, 24.5% had hypertension, and 45.9% had high cholesterol. The World Heart Federation also noted in 2022 that around 11% of deaths in Malaysia are linked to CVD. In 2011, the prevalence of chronic kidney disease, CKD, sakit buah pinggang, was 9.07%. A nationwide study in Malaysia in 2018 estimated that 15.48% of adults, over 5 million people, have CKD. It really is alarming. These numbers are striking, especially when you consider how rapidly they have grown over just a decade. It is a massive public health challenge. In light of these statistics, the implications for nation building and capacity building are stark. What value does a nation have if more than half its population are fat, sick, and nearly dead?
Are you fat, sick, and nearly dead? Well, if you think you're overwhelmed, you don't know where to start with this book. And then as you progress, you can, go deeper, take a deep dive into the other books. And if you want to meet me, to discuss what you read in the books, you have a chance in September to do so. However, there are 5 places already been taken up, and there are limited seats, so the sooner you register, the sooner you'll reserve a place for yourself. Attendance is by donation, so details are in the video.
Important note on event registration fees. Early bird. Donation received between the 1st and the 31st of July 2026. Minimum donation of 150 ringgits. Normal registration. Donation received between the 1st and the 31st of August 2026. Minimum donation of 200 ringgits. Late registration. Donation received between 1st to 5th September 2026. Minimum donation of 500 ringgits. All proceeds after deducting third-party costs will go towards Azlan Adnan's various ongoing eye treatments to hopefully reverse or at least arrest his macular degeneration, cataracts, photophobia, mydriasis, dry eyes, and etc. This is mission critical as, if his vision fails, he'll no longer be able to produce, edit, or upload videos. Your voluntary contributions and donations are a critical success factor. As such, your generosity, empathy, compassion, and kindness are well and truly appreciated. We thank you in advance for your invaluable help and assistance in making this event a resounding success.
About the author. Azlan Adnan, M.A., is a writer and independent researcher whose work focuses on nutrition science, food systems, and the biological foundations of human health. His writing examines how natural foods contain complex compounds that interact with human physiology in ways that may support long-term well-being. He has a particular interest in plant-based bioactive compounds such as polyphenols, carotenoids, flavonoids, and other phytochemicals found in fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, algae, and fungi. His research explores how these compounds function in plants and how they may influence human nutrition when consumed as part of a balanced diet. Azlan approaches nutrition from a multidisciplinary perspective, drawing on biochemistry, plant biology, and public health nutrition. His work aims to translate complex scientific concepts into clear explanations so that readers can better understand the nutritional value of everyday foods. He is the author of several books examining natural sources of antioxidants and other dietary compounds. Author of the antioxidant series, Antioxidants in Herbs and Spices, Antioxidants in Algae, Microalgae, and Fungi, Antioxidants in Fruits and Vegetables, Antioxidants in Nuts and Seeds, Antioxidants in Berries. Author of the Nutrient Series, Macronutrients, Volume 1, Carbohydrates, Macronutrients, Volume 2, Lipids, Macronutrients, Volume 3, Proteins, Micronutrients, Vitamins, Trace Elements, and Minerals, Anti-nutrients, the hidden blockers in your food, Phytonutrients, the quiet power of plants, Water, the forgotten fourth, a macronutrient you can't ignore. Other books on health and nutrition. Tuber's Briefing Paper, 2nd edition. Aslan's 5-Powder Manifesto. Eating the Greek Way, how cultural habits support health without trying. Ideology on a Plate, how Robert F. Kennedy Jr. turned U.S. dietary guidelines into a scientific farce. Maslow in 2026, a practical guide to actual needs, not scrollable wishes. These works form part of an ongoing series exploring the chemistry, biological roles, and nutritional significance of bioactive compounds in plant foods. Through his writing, Azlan advocates a practical food-first approach to nutrition. His work emphasizes whole foods, dietary diversity, and balanced eating patterns, rather than reliance on isolated nutrients or supplements. He holds a Master of Arts in International Business and Management from the University of Westminster in London, and writes extensively on nutrition science, health, and food-based approaches to long-term well-being. Azlan Adnan, the quiet revolutionary of real food writing. Azlan Adnan, M.A., is a Malaysian polymath who spent decades turning food into philosophy. Raw, unfiltered, no hype. You won't find him pushing superfoods or miracle diets. He dissects what actually works. Whole plants, spices, microbes, and the quiet chemistry that keeps bodies humming. With over 30 books, self-published, shared freely on Z-Library, Facebook groups, Telegram channels, Aslan's output is prolific. Part manifesto, part manual. Early works like Spring Has Sprung, a psychological thriller, and travelogues on the road to the East Coast reveal his roots in journalism, advertising, and storytelling. But nutrition became his mission. Educated with a Master of Arts in International Business and Management from the University of Westminster, London, he taught at the School of Management, Royal Holloway, London, while pursuing doctoral research in business strategy and environmental management, specializing in the international timber trade. That academic backbone, rigor, systems thinking, sustainability, bleeds into his food writing. No fluff, just evidence. The core series, the Macronutrients Trilogy, Volume 1 on carbohydrates, glucose, fiber, metabolism, Volume 2 on lipids, fats, omega-3s, inflammation, Volume 3 on proteins, repair, enzymes, muscle. Then micronutrients, water, and anti-nutrients, the plant world's double-edged sword. Anti-nutrients are naturally occurring compounds in whole foods, phytates, oxalates, lectins, goitrogens, that can bind minerals, block enzymes, or mess with absorption. They evolved as plant defenses, but in us, they steal iron from spinach, calcium from kale, or spike gut irritation from raw beans. Variety wins. 30 plants a week, not monodiets. Raw's romantic, but cooked smarter. Add spice blends like Azlan's 5-powder manifesto, turmeric mixes for real anti-inflammation, and you've got a library that says, eat wide, not weird. Why release it all into the public domain? Because knowledge isn't currency. It's oxygen. Azlan watched corporations gatekeep health, paywalls on papers, patented supplements, proprietary blends that hide what works. He refuses. His books aren't for sale. They're for spread. No DRM, no ads, no ego. Just files anyone can download, print, share. He says it plain. If one person in a kampong swaps white rice for brown or steams kailan instead of boiling it, that's the win, not royalties. He's no gatekeeper. His Facebook, Azlan Green Party, Instagram, and YouTube drop bite-sized truths. Traffic light WFPB guides, eye health talks on lutein, vegan journeys. He credits tradition, curries, forest mushrooms, seaweed from tides, and lives it. Unpeeled carrots, home ferments, no moralizing. 30-plus titles aren't about volume. They're depth. Carbs to phytonutrients, water to gut bugs. Azlan doesn't sell health. He hands you the tools. Read him and your plate changes. Not because you're broken, because you're built for better.
Subscribe button to show your support. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to show your support.